Hi, Steve.
Hi, Serge.
So, we're going to be talking about the creation of relationship in this new, strange environment where we interact with people by phone or video conferencing.
This, as we have already discussed, these are challenging times, and we have to kind of restructure who we are and how we relate to others. I've been on several phone calls with friends who are doing therapy through the internet, and some of them really enjoy it because it enables them to focus and for the client to focus, and there's fewer distractions. But others are totally exhausted because they're working very hard to detect cues that would be natural in their body if they were face to face. So we realize that when we try to develop relationships, there's a lot of intuitive reactions or bodily responses of our nervous system that are not within our realm of consciousness or awareness. In polyvagal theory, I call this neuroception. But the presence of another person, the facial activity, their gestures, their movements, the intonation of their voice, even their posture as they lean forward in the conversation, triggers in our nervous system a degree of connection. So we start interpreting them as cues of someone that we trust. When we start developing different ways of communication, especially in terms of email and texting, we left a lot of the intonation of voice was left behind, and the visual representation of gesture was left behind. And we're now into about 20 years of using text as our way of communicating. And text as a way of communicating is not communicating bodily feelings. So a lot of people, when they are now confronted with using the computer or using the smartphone as their mode of social communication, they revert to this texting or email level. But their body requires this degree of connectedness, the cues of safety, the cues of intonation. And that, for many people, since they are not using it that much in their day-to-day life, is causing a lot of burden. So this notion of active listening or embodied listening becomes an extremely important aspect where we actually attempt to connect through our listening. And I would ask people to kind of move back in time to when people did this on the phone, when people were separated from their spouses or their loved ones, and they would take those few minutes to talk about nothing, but the intonation of their voice was carrying the connection. And we need to understand that it's the cues of social connection, which are facial expressivity, even being silent, listening. There's a song that's sung by Alison Krauss, which is basically, it's when you stop speaking, I feel the love in you. And I can't even remember what the words are, but it's just beautiful because it says it's not the words, it's the smile. It's your presence. The song has a subtitle, When There's Nothing to Say. And I think when we get into active listening, we want to really get to that moment when there's nothing to say. And when there's nothing to say, we are now attuned to each other. And this is what we do when we are physically with another person. When we meet a person that we fall in love with, there's really nothing to say. And that's when we are embodied and we are in tune with each other in this synchronous moment of shared intimacy.
Thanks, Steve. That was beautifully said.
Okay.